Yo, 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 here we go. Here we go. Let me take this banner off here. We already got 35 people off the jump. This is gonna be crazy. I already know this is gonna be crazy. So shout out to my folks on IG. If y'all got comments on IG, drop them. Shout out to my guys over there on YouTube. Let's see. Let me switch this up. Shout out to my guys on Twitter. Hey, before we get this popping, I'm gonna shout out to my guys over there at Track Born. You know, I got shout out TTFCA. All right, so we got a hot show today, guys. As y'all know, Texas State they dropped their standards. And everybody you see on the screen here, we all got different opinions about this, right? I'm gonna let the coaches introduce themselves. Looks like Coach Wicker might have dropped out, but he'll be back in a second here. But let's just give a formal introduction here. They're gonna tell you who they are. This is gonna be the discussion panel tonight, guys. If y'all got questions, drop your questions. We got a lot of experience here on the show tonight, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. All right. So, shoot, whoever want to go first, go ahead, kick it off.
I'll start it. Once again, my name is Lamont Johnson. I've been a collegiate full-time collegiate coach since 2011. I've been a two-time national champion coach at the Division II level. I've also coached at the Division I level, multiple All-Americans, multiple conference champions, and I'm looking forward to having a great show and a great discussion to help people understand what we were trying to explain earlier this morning when the fireworks went off. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And yes, I am an NCAA coach. I still coaching the NCAA.
Gotcha. I'll go next. My name is Coach Lamont Vaughn. I'm the head track and field coach at Grambling State University, beginning my third year as the head coach at Grambling State. And unbelievably, now that I'm thinking about it, starting year 28 overall coaching track and field. Started off as a high school coach and then been at several universities since, including places like University of Washington and UCLA. Now I'm the head coach at Grambling. Look forward to this spirited debate.
Nice.
I'll go ahead and go next. This is
Don't be
Coach
shy,
Kenneth
man.
Johnson.
Don't be shy.
All right, this is Coach Kenneth Johnson with X Factor Performance Training. I've been coaching for about 20, all in the DFW area, spending time with a couple of clubs, and then in 2007 branched out and became a private sector performance coach, focusing in on speed development, functional movement, things of that nature. But my heart has always been with track and field, really specifically with hurdles. So going into this conversation this morning, I think we kind of kicked off and the topic was immediately interesting, and 5 minutes later it blew up. So it was something we definitely needed to jump into. I hope it benefits all those that are watching, a lot of parents and athletes, because there's some truths that need to be told and some information that needs to be understood as this landscape continues to change in college track and field.
Coach Noel down in Houston, Texas, with Hurdlenomics Elite Training Group. I ran track at Arkansas State University, where I ran 400 hurdles. Moved here, immediately got into coaching, and now I just kind of do my thing on the hurdle side. And I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's opinions and see what we can stir up.
My name is Justin Wickard. I'm with Tier 1 Athlete. I'm also in the DFW, mainly working on sprint and hurdle training for track and field. Spent 14 years in Division I level, and I do miss it. Would I go back if the money was right? So I am looking forward to having this conversation. So I enjoy it being in now in the private sector. There needs to be a lot of truth and more discussions around this. Those college coaches are on here. I appreciate it. Get your colleagues to start doing more of it, because football and everyone else does it. But when it comes to track and field, we want to keep hush-hush. So this is going to be fun.
All right, so I guess I'll go last. CJ Brown, head track coach of Dave Bethany Elite DBE Summer Program, and also head track coach of Houston Christian High School. I think we got started off this morning when I posted that those times were ridiculous because obviously as a high school coach, I send kids to school every year. And so just glad to have high school coaches, private sector coaches, coaches of all avenues so we can get more insight and just really to learn and grow from you guys and see what we got to talk about.
Cool. All right. So that's everybody, right? So here's what's happening, guys. Here's what's happening. Texas State, they dropped their standards for this upcoming track season, and also I'll post. If you go to my Twitter, social media, it's on there. I'll repost it, right? So what we're going to go for here, everybody is going to give their thoughts, their brief thoughts about the standards. So everybody on the screen has seen the standards. If you haven't seen the standards, go to my social media page. You can find it or whatever. But here we go. So we're going to kick it off like this. I'm going to say my part, and then we just go pass it around. Whoever want to go next can go next. So for me, and I always say this. Hold on, let me open up this comment real quick. We already got some comments coming in too. So here's my take, and I tell everybody, hey, I'm not a professional coach. I'm not a coach on none of these guys' level, guys. I'm a parent of a track athlete, and this is going to be from a parent perspective, right? A parent perspective. So I just like to put that little disclaimer in there. But anyway, my thoughts on it. Texas State, they dropped the standards, right? And when I first seen it, I done kind of glanced at it. Then I had to go back and look again after Coach CJ had posted. Like, oh, wait a minute. So I went back and looked again because I was on my way to do something. Then so I looked at it, right? So here's my thoughts. The numbers. I don't know how they came up with the numbers, but the numbers that's on the standards, I feel they are too high. And the reason I feel like that is one, because of the conference they're in. They're in the SBC, right? So when I talk about these standards, they're going to be from the girls, young women's perspective, because I know a lot about them, right? So you asking a girl that runs 11.6 to walk onto your program, but then when I look at your roster, you had 2 11.4 girls and the rest were like 11.7, 11.8, right? And that was part of my reason. The other part of my reason was I feel that a lot of high school athletes, they are real close to being where they need to be as far as if you want to say elite status or whatever, and they just need some development. But I feel that a lot of that is getting pushed away because one, the coaches are fearing for their job and they want to push out faster results, and they turn into the portal, right? So that's my take. We'll get a little bit deeper in it. I don't want to take up a lot of time on mine, but we go pass it around.
Stephen A is back. Stephen A is back.
Hey, I already see.
Well, I can tell.
You got signed out for the group right
Coach
now.
Lamont is ready to jump in right now.
Hey, whoever, D, whoever next.
But before we
before
turn Lamont loose.
Hey, before we start, can I share something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you share?
Go ahead.
Can I share my slide or a screen? Will it work?
Can you what?
Can I
Yeah.
share?
Let's
Let me share my screen.
Go ahead.
If this works, can people see my screen?
Nah, don't you have to be like the?
Yeah, no. You good? Let me bring it up. You
Okay.
good?
Okay.
Here we
There
go.
you go.
There you go. It's on there.
Yeah, it's up.
Sweet. Okay, I just want to share this. So, I have this is 12 years of data. Okay, for all divisions. Okay, so what you're seeing, this is for the women's 100. Okay, for the first top is NCAA Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, JUCO, and NAIA. Okay, so
Have you clicked on it? Because all I see is a Twitter.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like your
Hold on.
your
Let's
message
see.
feed.
Yeah.
Hey man, don't expose yourself, baby.
Right.
I do see it coming. Wait, hold on.
Baby, don't expose yourself.
Look, everybody gonna be
Hey,
screenshot.
hold on.
Hey,
Wick,
does that
hold on. Let's
No,
just move on to something else. I don't.
Well, look at this. Why y'all
Well,
getting
Rick, I got you back. Rick, I know what you're getting ready to do, though. I know what you're getting ready to do, and I've got your back somewhat on that. I know
Okay,
exactly.
I'll just share it then. I'll just share it. I'll just say with the women, okay? So with the women, okay, to qualify to make it out of the West region, so to make it out of the West region, you got to be top 12. Okay, so over 12 years, the average time for the women's 100, to be top 12, okay, is 11:39. Okay, to make it out of the East region, to be top 12, the average time is 11:38. Okay, now to make finals of nationals, okay, so to be the 8th place qualifier, the average time is 11:24. If you want to win nationals, the average time is 10:93. Okay, now we're gonna go Division 2. Okay, Division 2 national qualifiers, because Division 2 they don't have East or West region. Okay, it's just based off of qualifying standards.
Right.
The Sunday
Okay.
order list.
So Division 2 for the women, the average of the last 12 years is 1174. Okay, the 8th place qualifier to make finals for D2 is 1170. The average first place finishing performance time is 1141. Don't let me go to the men's, because the men's will blow you away, because the men's is even more crazier. Okay, so let's just start with knowing those numbers, because at the end of the day, let's remember, if you go to the NCAA football program or basketball or any other team sport, or you go to a pro level and say, hey, what are your goals for the year? All those coaches are going to kick you out of their office, because like the goal is to win the national championship, or the goal is to win the Super Bowl, or the goal is to win the title. Okay, so at the end of the day, the goal for NCAA track and field is always to win conference, and depending on the conference level,
Mm-hmm.
to win nationals or be top 5 and get a trophy. That's the standard. No matter
So let's
what
take
you
one
got.
step back. From there, let's take one step back, because I think there's a key point, and I mean, this discussion should be an educational point for everybody. And I think one of the things that you touched on and that you keep mentioning is standards, because that's what kicked this whole thing off this morning.
Yep.
And so for most of the audience who's probably based in Texas, so you have athletes that are UIL athletes or TAPS athletes or TCIL athletes. And if we look at most other states, from a high school standpoint, qualification is based on place at your district meet or your area meet, onto regionals, so on and so forth. I think it's important for people to understand that's not how the NCAA works. Okay.
Correct.
So when you talk about what's happened in a conference, that conference, you can go win first place in your conference. But if you don't have one of those times that qualify for the regional meet, that's the end of your season.
Right.
But that's not the end of how someone like Coach Johnson or someone like Coach Vaughn gets evaluated by their AD. They get evaluated on qualifications to the postseason, and they get evaluated on the standards that are then calculated by years of data of qualifications to those postseasons. And so we can only assume, coaches at Texas State aren't here to explain for themselves, but I've dealt with those coaches directly. I deal with Coach Vaughn directly, and I understand they're calculating standards based on performance lists. You go to TFRS and pull it up right there, and it will tell you what the top performances are for every single event in a conference, at the regional level, and at the national level. So that needs to be understood first. Qualification happens solely based on the clock, not by the place.
Yep. And
So
then
I'll add to
I'll
that.
throw this in there, just
Go
the
ahead,
last
go
one to
ahead.
tie it in too. If you're at the high school level and you don't make state, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's not fair because some regions. Hold on, that's not fair because you got some regions that third, fourth, and fifth are just as good, but because they got fourth, then
That's
you got some guys going 10-5.
SEC's coaches like, I don't want to hear that excuse. Get the
Well,
job.
but we're talking about Sun Belt or whatever it takes. We're talking
either conference, because I'll interject here. So here's the thing, and this is the way that I learned it when I first got into it from the old school coaches. You recruit based off potential, you scholarship based off of production. Okay, production always matters over potential. Okay, so there are, to me, I think in some of the statements that I saw, there are misnomers to this whole profession that people aren't developing because they're getting the top athletes and they're getting out the way. I used to think that when I coached high school, right? I used to tell myself I'd never coach college because I have to make a great 200 runner and coaches just get a great 200 runner. That's not necessarily true because when I look at, and I'm gonna start with my two mentors, okay? Daryl Anderson, who used to be the head coach at TCU, who was my coach at the University of Kentucky, who's back at the University of Kentucky now, and Mike Holloway, okay? I had a teammate at Kentucky, Tim Harden. Tim Harden made an NCAA final every year from freshman to senior year. Okay, Tim Harden was a 1050 guy coming out of high school. Okay, now this is 92 when we came in. Tim Harden ran 1003 and ended up making the 96 Olympic team. He developed. Okay, Grant Holloway did not come into Florida run a 651, split in 43 seconds, long jumping almost 27 feet, and running 12.8. Okay, these elite coaches are developing. There's just levels to everything. Okay, I got a young man on my team who's run 1023, 2067, and 4632. He did not come in running that. Okay, and so everybody's got levels and standards to it. So we're all developing, just like high school coaches are developing, club coaches are developing, pro coaches are developing. Sha'Carri didn't, Sha'Carri came out of LSU running really fast, but she wasn't a world champion yet. Dennis Mitchell's done a great job developing her into a world champion because it's not just about her talent. It's about how she's mentally processed and emotionally processed things. That's part of development too. We're just looking at the end result saying, okay, hey, that's it. Okay. So for us at the collegiate level, and just like Coach Johnson said, we get paid for what happens in the postseason. Texas Relay is a great meet. I don't know anybody in the stands that gets paid for what happens at that meet. Right. I know Edric Floria. I know Greg Metcalf, who I worked for at the University of Washington. They didn't get paid for what happened at Texas Relay. We're getting paid for what happens in the postseason. Okay. So well, I'll segue to this. People don't pull metrics just out of the air or out of their what. Okay. They found those metrics somewhere. Okay. Now, ain't every program the same. Some want to emphasize sprinting and hurdling over jumping and throwing. Some want to emphasize distance running over everything else. That is up to discretion. But whatever decision that we make as head coaches or assistant coaches at this level, those decisions have to work. Now, they don't always work. They will sometimes not work out, but you got to be more right than you are wrong in order to keep your job at this level. Okay, and you're talking to the son of a longtime high school coach who's grown up around coaches. I get it. There's frustration because the cost of the education is continuing to rise in this country, and people trying to secure the bag. But I want people to have the same energy for their athletic performance that they do for their academic performance. Okay, because people are leaving money on the table academically all the time. Kids aren't taking the SATs and the ACTs, even though the NCAA doesn't necessarily require it. But at a lot of schools, you need that ACT or SAT score to be just as good as your GPA in order for academic money. So if you can't afford X school because it costs this, but you can get 60, 70, 80% off of academic money, you need to go ahead and take that doggone test. So, but again, I say all of that is it's levels to it. I can't speak for Texas State. I can't speak for no other coach. But I know that they didn't just, let me think and let's pull this number out the sky.
Right.
There is a reason. Now, how I do it may be different than how the next person do it. What I do now, I know Wick took 12 years. I don't do 12 years. I do 3 to 4 years, and I'll take the average winner of our conference final, and I'll take the average last time to make a final. Okay. Now, yes, there's margin of error because sometimes the weather's not as great, or it's too hot, or it's too windy, or it's a headwind, or the timing system was off, or whatever. That I'll if something happened there, I'll if I'm there, I'll take that into consideration. I may throw the worst one out. I don't know. Just depends on the situation, right? And that range tells me everything that I need to know as a coach. In any event, it tells me in real time how that event is trending. It tells me what level we have to work above, and it tells me how to spend money. Period.
So my question would be, I mean, you talk about development. I hear that a lot when I talk to coaches. Development. Okay, so a school I'm not going to name, a kid went sub 22. One of my kids went sub 22, and they basically told him he could walk on. Well, I was like, okay, cool. Well, explain to me more. They couldn't explain, but it was a school that had guys going 22.5s and one kid going sub 22. And while I'm trying to explain to him, because I'm an advocate for my kids as a high school coach, we should be, and I'm sure college coaches appreciate that. And I'm telling you, this kid just started running track this year, and he's already gone sub 22. His potential was in the 4 as well. He was a 48 400 guy. He can go faster than that. It wasn't a major Division I, but it was Division I. And like I said, once we look at, I'm not going to reach out to a school unless I go look at your roster and see if this is even a conversation we need to have. Because I'm not reaching out to Alabama or any SEC school with a guy not going 10-4 or better. I'm just not going to do it. That's wasting their time. So how do you, in your programs as college coaches, as college, how do you guys decipher where development can take place, where it looks like, what the potential looks like, and then how do you decipher as far as like money wise? I mean, without just obviously talking about your whole program, but just in regards to development.
Yeah, I'll give you an example that I had, not necessarily at Grambling State. Mont knows this gentleman I'm talking about. Wick knows this gentleman I'm talking about. When I was at the University of Washington, I had a young man, Jordan Bowes. Okay, Jordan Bowes ran 11.1, ran a 22.5 in high school. Okay, that was it. Okay, now there are several factors to consider. Number one, he's in the state of Washington. Okay, number one. State of Washington, you might not get a meet above 70 degrees with no rain until the state meet. Okay. Number two, his high school coach was a former athlete at the University of Washington who had been developing athletes in the Seattle area for quite a good minute. Okay. Number three, the kid had the GPA and the test scores to go in and be able to come in and say, hey, look, I just need a shot. So he walked on. Okay. Now, Washington ain't cheap, okay? Now, after his freshman year, the kid ran 21.31. He ran 47.75 indoors, okay? Great development, okay? Now, because we hosted indoor meets at the University of Washington, if he went to UCLA and USC, he wouldn't even get on a plane to come to a meet in Seattle, right? So we had an advantage there. So, again, take that into consideration, okay? So we gave him a little something. We paid for books and maybe a little extra change after that because we saw he was moving in the right direction. He was trending in the right direction. His high school coach was right about it because he swore to me he was going to run 46 seconds and 21 flat before he left. We were both wrong, right? His junior year, that kid ran 44.82, 20.37. He's a 5-time NCAA All-American. Led off our 4x1 at the NCAA championships his freshman year, right? He didn't pay for his last 2 years of school. Okay. Give you another example on that team. Ryan Brown, 2-time NCAA champion at 800. Ryan Brown ran 50.5 and 155 in high school. Ryan Brown ran 146.29 and split 45.5 on our 303 relay. Right. Those things happen. Okay. But you're going to have to bet on yourself in a lot of situations. Right. But if you're going to bet on yourself, I tell walk-ons this because of those two young men right there. If you want to walk onto this program, if you want to be a minimal scholarship person on this program, do me one favor. Do not make yourself easy to cut.
Yep.
Right? Be the first one in, the last one out. Take care of your grades. Don't miss a minute of study hall. Okay. Don't drink, smoke, beat up on women, all this other kind of crazy stuff. Okay. that's the stuff that I think we need to be telling these young people, their parents, their coaches. If you want this opportunity, yes, there is opportunity to get scholarship money. It may not be the day you walk into the door. Okay. Why? Because this is the conference standard. This is the NCAA standard. Where if we're trying to be a top 25 or whatever NCAA type program, we need to be more transparent up front, letting people know. So, like, for instance, in the SWAC, I got the numbers right here because I just did them last week. The last 3 years in the SWAC, the average winner in the men's 100 meters in the SWAC. Now, again, this is SWAC. Okay. This ain't SEC. I ran in the SEC. I ran in Kentucky. This ain't SEC by any stretch of the imagination. The average winner is 10-18. The average last time to make a final has been 10-56. Okay. In 2023, 10-47 didn't make the final. Exactly. 10-47 didn't make the final in 2023. Okay. So I'm not looking at necessarily that 1 year, because that 1 year could be an anomaly. I'm looking at what the conference consistently does over a real time span, which for me is 3 to 4 years, because usually those kids are still in there in that 3-4 year recruiting cycle. Right.
But I think
that's why I do it that way.
But I think what you're bringing up is a segue into some of what's been happening in the comments, because I've been looking at the comments. There's a lot of questions going on and a lot of comments going on.
Yeah, let's get to
that. Is a segue into it. So I'm just pick the one.
Hey, have y'all seen my facial expression with these comments?
Hey, you, I see you almost ready, Coach.
Like,
I'm holding Stephen A. back. I'm holding back.
Hey, I want to say this too, guys. Hey, I want to say this too. We're not picking this. This show is not picking on Texas State or anything like that, right?
No.
It's not. I just want to throw that out there.
Right.
Just go.
Wait.
Because I want to address one of the comments directly, and I know Coach Lamont is about ready to bust and address this too.
He is.
And so let me roll back to the comment, because as I look at this as a trainer, I see it one way, but as I look at a parent, I get it, right? And the comment says these college coaches want them coming running Diamond League times. Well, have you looked at the Diamond League times recently? Because that's pretty far from what they're asking them to run. Now, something that needs to be considered when you look at something like that. And if you think about Texas State, let's just say, okay, Texas State was the catalyst of the conversation. They had their standard at what? I think 11.3 as the target for a woman in the 100. Like, I can't remember what it was as the target.
205 and the 800.
205 and 800.
There's no 205 in Texas this year.
I went and did some research, and I looked at their performance list. Okay, here's the performance list, and I just pulled the top 12 performance list for the Sun Belt. We're not talking SEC.
Thank you.
We're not talking Big 12. We're not talking Big 10. I'm gonna get to that, but the performance list in the Sun Belt Conference, the 12th fastest time for the conference was 11.6.
Man,
in SBC,
in the SBC,
because I have it up right now.
I pulled the performance list off of TFers.
Hey guys, I'm gonna interrupt. I got 12 years of data, so no one can buff it. This is 12 years.
Wick, am I right?
The average winning time is 11.27 over
11.27. That's what I said. This year, the winning time was I won't say the conference championship time, but the fastest time that they clocked in TFers was 11.4. So if I'm a program and I'm trying to build my program to have a certain standard of performance, I want to say I want to win conference. I want to put people in NCAAs. Then I need to go target someone who can take down this 11.4. That's what I'm going to pay a full scholarship for, right? Because I gotta go target this. So I can't go take 11.8 and say that I'm going to go knock down an 11.3 in the next year, right? I can try to develop them. I can coach my butt off. I can probably get them from 11.8 to 11.6 or 11.5. But I got to go get faster than 11.4 to make my impact in the conference. On the men's side, I got to go get faster than 10.2 to make my impact on the conference. So yes, that's what I'm going to target that doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
Right.
Right.
Go ahead,
You-
Lamont. I know you're
No.
ready.
No,
Go
you
get
okay.
CNA.
All right. Lord Jesus. Whew, all right. Because y'all been talking about the Sun Belt. In case y'all don't know, I coach in the Sun Belt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I ran in
I
the
knew
Sun
that.
Belt, so I'm with you. Don't talk too bad about us now.
It is not a slouch conference.
And trust and believe, I've seen it firsthand. Now, the 1140 girl, that's number one. I kind of know her. She's mine.
Right?
She was 11-8 before I got there. Never made a conference final. Became the conference champion. Had her for 10 months. Now, here's where it comes to the point that I was trying to make on Twitter. You now have a precedent. You now know you have a coach who has shown everywhere he or she's been that when he or she enters the chat blows up. So now, you know, now if y'all really watch the Sun Belt, you notice there was another girl, my number 2 girl, her PR was 12:06. Well, when I got there, she ran 11:54. I wish I had more time with her, but she never ran over 12 seconds. She ran under 11 every time she stepped on the track. She never broke 24 seconds until I got there. She broke 24 seconds 4 times, even falling across the line. The 4 times I ran the 200. The thing I'm telling y'all is this: once you start setting the precedent, you now have to move the goalpost when it comes down to your recruiting standards.
Mm-hmm.
Because understand something. Yes, at those schools, you have to win conference or finish in the top half. Or you cannot have the resources that you need, and you and the AD. See, here are the conversations that a lot of these high school coaches and some other coaches from college or club coaches, they don't know that we have. Those head coaches, those ADs have a conversation like, look, I know you don't have an outdoor track or a substantial outdoor track or an indoor facility where you can not miss time. So, and we're limited on scholarship resources. But if I give you 10, can you build a team that can score in the top 20 at nationals? The coach probably say, yeah, I can do that. Now that the conference meet is out the way, I can now put my energy into getting national caliber athletes. Hence as to why these standards are there. Mm-hmm. Ohio State didn't become Ohio State overnight. Somebody had to set a standard. Texas State want to set a standard.
Right.
And now look, I love what Texas State did. I love what Trent did. He and we battled this year. We battled in them sprints, and we did everything we could to take each other head off, but we respected one another, and I showed them all the love in the world. I don't want to say had because he's still there. He's had a phenomenal run as the Texas State coach there, as the straight coach there. So now, if he got a kid that ran 13.2, he has another kid that ran 13.5. He got a kid that ran 45 low, got a bunch of 20 points. Got a bunch 48. Of girls who are all transfers. Mind you, he inherited a lot of those girls, and a lot of those girls came in that semester. See, the thing is, a lot of people don't know the whole story. They just look at T-first and just say, ooh, they suck. Well, you don't know what that girl went through. You don't know what they gone through, I'll give you a prime example. I'm going to use Georgia State. Nobody thought those girls were good. Mind you, those girls are either the seniors to the sophomores. None of them made a conference final the entire time they've been there. I get there, all of a sudden, we're not only in conference finals, but we're the favorites to win the events. So people have to sit back and look at the backstory before they just automatically assume that, hey, we're just trying to get Diamond League sprinters in there. No, we're not. But at the end of the day, we want to be at nationals too. Coastal Carolina went on one hell of a run.
Yep.
That's another prime example. They went on one hell of a run.
Jefferson.
But it wasn't just Melissa Jefferson. It was Glasgow. It was a whole bunch of other people that came in and contributed to a 330-point relay team, a 43-point relay team, a bunch of 12-second hurt girls who ran 13 high. They came in and win 12 mid or 12 high. like with the job that Carl Goodman did, who I love dearly, the job that he did set the world on fire. But you have to understand now once you have that taste of success, you don't want that success to falter. And so what you do now, you do what Ross did. As soon as Dwayne Ross got A&T popping, his standard changed. He can no longer put money into a 10-5 kid. Because he did it with Bleacher. He did with Chris Belcher. And Chris Belcher helping to pan out. And so now he gotta go, I gotta get a 10-4 kid, a 10-3 kid. Now I gotta go to 10-2. Yes, it's like that. That's just part of the game. So Trent had one hell of a year on his men's side and the women's side.
Yeah.
So now, right, and so now he don't want to go backwards. You want to keep going forward. So you have to increase the scholars. So you have to increase the standard in order for your program to maintain. LSU did it. Arkansas did it. Remember, Arkansas wasn't the Arkansas that we know. You know what I'm saying? But they had to set the standard as soon as they got the ball rolling. Now, you're not going to walk in there running 55 seconds unless you go over 400 hurdles. You know, you got to come in there running at least 53. Because let's be honest, the girl who ran 48.5, she came out of JUCO running 53 low, 52 high. But he took a chance on because not only that, she did multiple events on top of being able to run the 400. So all I'm saying to y'all is, I know that I look, the 205 as a walk-on. Okay, they was bugging. Let's call it what it was. That was wild. Okay,
but do we really know that's a walk-on? That's
no. 205 for the 800 was the target.
Yeah.
So
okay. I mean, it ain't like I tell people this all the time. I don't get in your money, don't get in money.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So if I take a chance on a young man or a young woman, I got to know everything about them. Because, also, in response to that tweet, the thing that I put out there was, look, if I got a kid that's running 1070 and 21.6, I'm not scholarshiping him as a transfer or a high school student, right? Because it takes 1018 to win, takes 1056 to make a final. It takes 2041 to win. It takes 2148 to make a final, right? If I do scholarship, he better have grades, but he ain't gonna get no big money, right? He better have some grades. Hopefully he has Pell if that's what he qualifies for. If not, he gonna have to come out of pocket and earn it.
Yeah.
Right. The question that I have sometimes too is, what other sport are we asking for that to happen in? Right. Everybody says, well, you want them to come in and win right now. Heck yeah, I do. Right. And especially now, because if that kid comes in as a freshman and win, coach, I'm gonna take my talents to Miami. I'm gonna take my talents to Florida. I'm gonna take my talents. So you got to strike while the iron's hot. You have to. This is a what have you done for me lately sport.
Right.
So, but will I take a 1032 transfer that can run 2080? Heck yeah, I will. High school or.
Right.
Because see, that's a good point. And if we go back to the comments, because the comments are still jumping.
Yeah.
It's two things we need to look at. One, someone asked a great question, which was, what about other events outside of sprints? Same rules apply. I mean, if we look at the triple jump specifically, you go back, you look at the Sun Belt's triple jump on the women's side. Top triple jump distance was 44.3. 12th distance was 40.5. Right now, you got high school jumpers that can jump that. Right, and I don't recall what Texas State listed their standards at. But you have high school jumpers that are jumping in that 40-foot range. You have high school jumpers that some of them, I know Kenny works with a couple of them over at Jump Smart. Shout out to Kenny, right? That are jumping, pretty big jumps like that as well. But then when you're dealing with jumpers specifically, and Coach Vaughn, Wick, you guys speak on this, they might have to be able to do more than one jump if they're just barely scoring.
Wait. If I'm serious about the jumps.
If you're serious about it.
If I'm serious about the jumps. Because, nobody's bugging, I don't know, a distance program, say, an Iona.
Yeah.
Say Iona or somebody like that. Nobody's bugging them that they got to get sprinters and jumpers and throwers, right? They have their philosophy on how they are going to be successful. Right? If you want to be a cross-country team and distance team and do that, that is your prerogative. Your AD is just asking you that whatever your prerogative is, it has to produce fruit.
Right.
Period. So I don't necessarily have to be serious about any other event that I don't want to be serious about. I just have to make it work. So our program has shifted. We were very much distance based when I took over. I'm a sprint and hurdle guy, 1 through 8, both hurdles, right? So I changed the philosophy of it. And when I changed the philosophy of it, guess what? Standards went, right? So, but my AD again saying, okay, you can do that if you want to. Make it work. Make it work. So I don't have time for excuses. I only have time for results. I don't have time to complain. I only have time for solutions. So I've got to figure this out with the 12.6 and the 18. And I don't know if we're going to get to whatever was said last week by the NCAA. That's a whole nother topic. But, you know, I only have that to figure it out. So ain't everybody getting a full number one. I don't care. Not everybody's getting it because I've got to put a whole team together. Because even you look at the men's scholarships as it is right now, it's 12.6, right? We got to have 14 as a counter as a minimum to even sponsor the sport. 14, right? That's 1.4 scholarships less than what we have to do, right? Yeah. So I got to spread that out, and there's 21 events at the conference championships. I can get 1 point in each event and score 21 points. It looks like I got a great program because we got people in the finals. We got 21 points. We're going to get beat by 100 points. Right? I'm not going to have a job. But I didn't spread all this out because, I'm a developmental program. We're developing everybody. I don't care if you're elite. I don't care if you're walk-on.
Everybody is developed.
You're developing because we spend so much time. Y'all spend so much time as high school coaches, as club coaches, as junior college coaches, as mid-major coaches, as HBCU coaches, as SEC coaches, and Big 12 coaches, as NCAA coaches, Olympic coaches. We spend a lot of time developing. Okay. Edric Florial did a great job with Sydney McLaughlin. Yes, she was super elite, but she didn't run 52 in the 400 hurdles and break the collegiate record coming in. But she was super elite. Abby was super elite, you know. All these coaches have done a great job working with the right kids for their program.
The right kid.
And it's not 100%. You don't bat 1,000 in this sport. Nobody has. I haven't gotten it done with every athlete that I've ever coached.
Well, I'll bring this up, and you mentioned it, right? Like, so people got to remember.
You muted.
You muted. Track that. We can't hear you.
You might as well take it, Wick. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Right, hold on. My time. I'll let you shine a little bit here. They can hear me now. I turned it on. Turn the mic off. Hey, but y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think we lost Coach, but I just sent him the link. He could be back in here. But guys, here's my thing, man. All right, this is the SBC Outdoor Championships results for the 100-meter final, right? First place was Coach Girl. She ran 11.4. Second was 11.4. Third, 11.5. Fourth, 11.5. Fifth was 11.6. Sixth place was 11.69. Seventh place was 11.71. Eighth place was a 11.77. So,
what was the wind on that?
Let's see.
I like it.
And was
but
they went into a negative 0.5 on the wind, so it was good. It was legit. My question is, is how can Texas State? And again, I'm not picking on Texas State. Let me just put that in there. First of all, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm Texas State.
But how are they going? So here are their standards for this is the 100 meter because we're talking about that. Walk on is 11.69. Scholarship standard, which is 11.48, which we all know that don't mean it's going to be a full. Target is 11.35. So how can you put out there you want a 11.6 girl to walk on to your program? Go ahead.
I know, Wick, I got you, bro. But all right, so that's the conference results, right?
Yeah.
So coaches we're not calculating possibility. We're calculating probability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only probability that we have going into the conference meet is the descending order list of our conference. Okay. So that's dictating what probability is. Everybody dopes out a meet in college right before the championships. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that same conference, 1140, yes, that probably happened at the conference championship. But you're talking about on the descending order list, 1168 is 18th.
18.
So if a coach is looking at that and they're saying, okay, that 1168 girl, her probability. Now, anything is possible. Okay. Anything's possible. I could be the world record holder. I'm 50 years old. It's not very probable because I'm overweight. I'm 50 and I don't want to do it no more. Right. But if we're looking at that going into the meet, we're saying 1168 probably won't score. So I better have something in the chamber that's going to have a higher probability. Okay. That's not, and look, when people post ththese standards, this is why I don't post them. Everybody thinks that it's set in stone, like I don't wrote the 10 commandments. This is an ever-changing sport, right? So I'm never going to say, all right, this person's never going to get a scholarship, right? Yeah, and there's levels to it. A 12 flat 100-meter dude's never going to get a scholarship, right? Like that. Come on, like this sport ain't that hard to figure out, right? So. But I'm never going to say a 1070 kid will never give a scholarship. I say it's highly improbable. Now, we could always trend back to 1170 and 21-6 making a final, right? But again, I'm not putting a full scholarship into somebody scoring 1 point.
Right.
That's not good math, right?
At the end of the,
and put it this way, if you're a high school coach, we'll put it in perspective. If your AD came to you and said, hey, are you willing to put your job, your whole teaching job and your coaching job, that you can guarantee that you're going to have 2 kids be top 2 at state? You going to put your neck out on the line for that?
I think high school is a little different though.
No, but
I'm gonna tell you why it's different.
There is a difference.
Why it's different.
There is a difference, but this is what I'm getting to. Standards are standards. And at the end of the day, we got to hold people to standards. Let's put it this way. High school football coaches get fired. Right?
Yeah, football is Texas.
That's my point. But when it comes to track and field and others, it's okay, baby.
We don't hire real track coaches anyway, but that's a different story.
No, but what I'm saying, standards.
You about to start something, CJ.
Yeah, that's a different story. But yeah, well, that's why it's not the same. You compare apples and oranges because most high school head coaches are not track people. You understand what I'm saying? It's football coaches who get another stipend. Not saying they're not good coaches, but they aren't track first. I probably know like 5 track first high school coaches in the Houston area.
And that's a whole nother story.
Yes, exactly.
That's different.
But
so at the end of the day,
go ahead, Devin.
At the end of the day, I feel like the biggest mistake that people are making is, and we heard them say at the beginning of the call is, oh, they don't have that on their team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares what they have on their team right now.
Nobody cares.
The purpose of this is to improve. So if I don't have it, that don't mean I don't have to go get it. At the end of the day, and y'all know I'm tripping because y'all ain't mentioning these hurdles. So I'm gonna talk about the hurdles. So Texas State, and we're just saying Texas State because that's what started it. Texas State asked for the female 100-meter hurdler to come in running a 13.2. Okay, 13.2 was first and second place to get in 2 finals. Okay, that didn't win finals. I think it only took 13.4 to win finals, but 13.2 was first and second to get into finals. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, I feel that, and I'm on the high school side. I don't recruit for the colleges, but I feel that it's common sense. You have to shoot for the moon. So if I'm gonna ask for, I asked for a 13.2. That don't mean I'm not gonna take a 13.6 that I can develop. That just means, hey, listen, 13.2 right. So because look, if I say, hey, I only want 13.7s, 13.8s, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get a bunch of emails with girls running 14.3, 14.2, trying to come to my school. So yeah, let me ask for the 13.2s, and then if I end up having to settle for a 13.5, 13.6, now there's something a little more probable and possible for me to get to actually be able to score for conference.
Yeah.
But just because it's not on the roster doesn't mean it's not relevant.
So you saying they're trying to scare people away, basically?
It's
I
not
don't know.
scare
It's
people
not
away,
scare
but
people away, though.
it's not scare
Yeah.
people away. But if I
Scare people
know,
away.
like, just keep it real. If I know I don't like big girls, I'm not gonna go to a plus size convention.
All right, let me jump in and say Devin real quick. Let me jump in and say Devin. Okay.
You go for what you want.
All right.
Can I clean that up? Can I clean that up? I agree with your point. I'm just gonna clean it up for the team.
Yeah, Devin, we gotta clean that up for you. But here's the
It's
thing.
saying,
I'm
like,
gonna throw myself out there. I'm gonna throw myself out there. Okay. I don't have I haven't had any half miles on my team, any serious half miles on my team the last 2 seasons, right? The conference, the average winner has been 151.27, and the last qualifier for the final has been 154.5, right? So if I'm going to get in there, yes, I want the 150 dude that's going to come in and win. I don't care where they're from. I don't care if they're international. I don't care if they're junior college. I don't care if they're freshmen coming in. I don't care if they're a transfer portal kid. Let's just keep it a buck, okay? The number's the number, okay? Yeah. Now, if I got to kickstart it, all right, I might have to go in a little bit harder on a 154 guy than I would once I start getting to 148, 147, 146, because I got to kickstart it, okay? But if I'm going to do that, I better know where you're from. I better know what coaching background you have. I need to know your injury history. I need to know every grade that you've ever made from 9th grade to 12th grade. I need to know what your SAT and ACT scores are. I need to know what your training model is, your injury history, all of that. Because again, we're not calculating.
He's back.
We're calculating probability, right? We have got to increase our levels of probability for success, not possibility for success.
My bad,
and
Joe.
In order for me to do that, it's not free for all, just take anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that can't happen. I can't have 8 half milers in my training group that I'm just, oh God, I gotta get him here, gotta get him here. The probability of that doesn't even work for you, right? So I've got to look at all these factors. So everybody's just bringing me the number. I need to look at what's behind the number. Yeah, right. Because look, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I love Coach Anderson. I love Coach Weber to death. I ran 151 in high school. I was a decent quarter miler out of high school. They overspent on me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm just gonna keep it a buck because 151 wasn't making SEC finals. I ran 150.92 my freshman year. I was 10th. Right. So they bet on me because they were trying to kickstart the program. They bet on Kickstarter because they were trying to kickstart the program. So they overspent on me.
Well, and then right, let's also, one thing we haven't said is a lot of these kids and parents and even coaches think way bigger than where they're at. Okay? So this is what I'm getting to. Okay, the probability. Okay, if my standard is 13-2. Okay, and I'm a mid-major conference, because I'll say this. Okay, so I coached in Louisiana.
You did.
Okay, I offered a girl a full ride plus tops, so she would have made $5,000 a year to come to La Tech.
Wow.
I looked at that girl and I said, "Young lady, first visit." I said, "You can be really, really good and special." Okay, she got one letter from LSU. Hung on. Finally did some. LSU said, "You have tops. We'll give you books." She signed. She would have scored multiple points, been conference champion for us multiple years. By the time she was a junior and senior, she finally became an All-American. Okay? This is my whole point. Too many people think they deserve more than where they're at. And at the end of the day, a kid can run fast, okay, at Texas State or even Grambling. Here's the problem. If coach has a girl that runs 13 flat in the hurdles, she's gone. She's entered in the transfer portal.
You don't even have to be 13 flat.
Okay.
Yep.
Everybody's always looking for the next big thing. And I think that's something that every athlete, every parent has to consider. It's something I tell my athletes and parents. Yes, you may get recruited by this coach, but the name of the game is we got to go faster. And so whether I got no hurdlers or sprinters or jumpers on my roster, or whether I got 10 hurdlers or sprinters or jumpers on my roster, when I get one, and I may not have any, but I'm always fishing for that one. So I don't necessarily have to say, well, I got to give this kid a full ride, even though they're not going to score in my conference because I don't have anybody in that event.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not going to say that. They're going to go for what they feel like they can get. Shoot for the moon. And if you hit something else on the way, you hit something else on the way. But once you get that kid in there, you're looking for, well, who can I get that can jump further, throw further, go faster? The other thing that I think is a myth that some people may or may not understand, but I think it's a myth, is that the money is infinite. And the money is not infinite. Just because I have 18 scholarships doesn't mean if I got 18 scholarships on the women's side and I give 18 full scholarships, I can't field a team.
Oh my Jesus, thank you, Lord. Thank you.
So I'm gonna have to take these 18 scholarships, and I gotta be, it's just like budgeting your household money. I gotta be very particular with who I give this full scholarship to. And then I might be able to cut one of them in thirds or one of them in halves to get something so that when that full scholarship kid graduates out, if I got somebody who then started hitting that level, well, they get that money because my 18 is 18, period. It ain't 18 plus 18 plus 18. It's 18, period. Right? On the men's side, it's 12.
I'm going to add this.
Hey, hold on. Coach, I like you. I just met you, but you might be my spirit animal. I like you, bro.
You got a Sigma man on your side. Look at that. Look at that, Newt. Look at that.
So I'll add this to it, okay? And both college coaches are going to go amen to this. The biggest frustration is, remember, the head coach controls the ship. Head coach might say, sir, you get 2 scholarships full. Make it work. And I need 6 kids for you to sign. Thrower coach, you get maybe 4. Okay. It depends on what the goal is and how the coach wants to build the program.
Yep.
Okay. The other thing too is people go, oh, well, the standards don't have this or the roster doesn't have this. You know how many times assistant coaches leave the office cussing out the head coach, saying, can you just let me do what I need to do? But at the end of the day, the head coach is the one that's answering to the AD. So at the end of the day, if the head coach needs to save their butt, he's going to let go and assist it.
So I'll add to that, Wick. So
yeah, because I want to jump in afterwards.
This. So when Edric Florial left Stanford for Texas, he signed a very lucrative contract. Very lucrative. Texas. I'm not going to get into the numbers because that's that man's business. Okay. Signed a very lucrative contract. I met with him to maybe get on as a volunteer or something like that. Okay. And he told me a little bit of the details of his contract. And it hit me sitting there talking to him. He's the only one on his staff making that level of a decision. He had a 5-year contract. He was trying to, and he told me, he said, I'm not trying to get my contract extension in year 5. I'm working on it right now in year 1, week 1, month 1, day 1. Right. So that's the intense pressure that these people are on a day-to-day basis, where you've got to be way more right than you are wrong. You can't have a batting average. You bat 300, you're in the Hall of Fame for it. You can't bat 300 in college.
Hold on, Justin. Hold on, please. Let me get this. I have to address something.
Get it out.
To this Alonzo Tuxson dude that's in the chat.
Okay, Steve, here we go.
Well, hang on. Before you know, I do know Alonzo. He is a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Hold on. I don't need no disclaimer. Let me explain something to you. I can recruit and out recruit just about anybody who you think is going to go to TCU Baylor. There's no such thing as an unrecruitable kid. Okay? Because if I walk into the house, guarantee anybody who's from Houston, now I don't want to mention the athletes' names. When I walked into their house, I became their top 3. And the only way we lost them is because of people outside of the home saying that they had to go to Power 5. Baby, don't try us.
And oh wait, where's Trent? Where's Trent's from? Where's Trent background from? Where was he at before Texas State?
Barton County.
Where was he at before Barton County?
Nowhere.
A&M.
He was at A&M.
He was at A&M.
Volunteer.
Levels to it. Levels
volunteer.
Yeah.
So once again, the only way these mid-major schools can't compete with those big schools is because of so many outside things. Some of y'all want your kid to get the t-shirt, the t-shirt and shorts scholarship. Oh, yeah, so my kid went to Texas, blah, 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 because some of y'all live vicariously through your child. Okay, because as respectful as I'm gonna be, I could give you some horror stories about kids who came up to me and asked me, "Coach, can we come back to you?" But it wasn't. But it wasn't in my. It wasn't in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
You can name
this
it.
whole thing where 1135 kids are gonna go. Yeah, they're gonna go there because they all think that if you go to Baylor, and this not me knocking Baylor, because Mike Ford is my guy. That's my bro. But I'm just using Baylor as an example because you want to put that out there. You go to Baylor, you think automatically, oh, I'm gonna be an All-American. Oh, I'm gonna listen. I took a Division II arts institution and wiped my rear end with every Division I school, and Vaughn knows that, and Justin knows that.
Right.
I took a
I remember that.
and dog walked everybody to the point where we couldn't get invited back to school, invited back to track meets.
Right.
And
They're going to South Florida with Eric Jenkins. They're going to South Florida. They're going to San Jose State with Chuck.
Yep.
They're not going P4.
No, they're going
somewhere.
Yeah. But I think there's an elephant in the room that we just haven't touched on. That gets back to first. When you talk about standards, there's semantics involved, right?
Yes, sir.
Target means this is what I'm going to aim for. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
Yep.
Walk on means if you're in this range, you're basically a preferred walk on, right? Like you're going to make the team. You're just not going to be scholarship, right?
But 11-6, coach?
11-6. Because here's the thing. And this is what parents and athletes need to understand, and they need to get it quickly. This sport has evolved tremendously as humans have evolved and as coaches have evolved.
Oh, yeah, I agree
and
with
issues.
that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right? And
No, we related. We're related.
We also have to look at is this particular sport, you are a freshman or you're a senior coming out of high school going to be an incoming freshman. You're not only being recruited against other seniors, you're being recruited against
the
athletes
team.
in the transfer portal, and you're being recruited against athletes around the freaking world.
Around the world. Let me tell you, hey,
so
have you looked at Auburn's men's team, the ones that finished second? You notice anything uniquely different about them? Most of 98% of those guys wasn't from America.
Oh, yeah. And that, yeah.
Coach Vaughn and I were talking about this earlier.
When you
got somebody from Ireland.
When you cross the stage at your high school graduation, when you cross the stage at a high school graduation, you have left boys and girls track and field behind.
It's men's
and women's track and field. Period. You will be coached like, spoken to, held accountable like an adult at all times. And see, success is not a line that just goes straight up. Okay, there's a lot of things that support that line. Your eating habits, your study habits, your stress management, your lifting, your strength and conditioning, what you do over Christmas break. All of those things support that line, and it's ascension or it's descension. Okay, so when we get blamed that a kid's not developing or not moving forward, are you also asking that kid, are you going to bed? Are you eating right? I had a kid when I coached at another institution. Coach came up to me at a meet. I don't know why you're not getting him this, that, and the other. Man, that kid done been to the dentist 3 times for a root canal because he eat honey buns every day. I didn't tell him to do that.
Oh, wow.
What are you telling me? So there's a lot of unseen factors. Everybody just sees the numbers and just plugs it into a calculator and says, this is what it's supposed to be. But what's supporting that line? What's supporting the ascension? The type of people, parental stress sometimes. A lot of parents I had a young coach or a dad tell me, hey, enjoy this girl for a year because after that, she's going pro. No, she's not. No, she's not. Not with the habits that she has.
Right.
Right. If she changes her habits, then okay, what are we doing to increase not possibility, probability? That's what we have to continue to calculate. And it's just not one size fits all. So again, and what I'll say about what Texas State put out there, did y'all know it was specific numbers? 11-34, 41-4, whatever. Right. So where are they pulled? Again, they're not. Let me just throw out a random number here that makes sense to me right now. There's a metric behind it. They are looking at what is happening, what's trending in their conference, in their region, at the NCAA meet, depending on where they want to go. And it ain't like Trent ain't putting people. I think the 4x1 made the NCAA final, or they were close.
They were close.
They got to get there. You know how hard it is to get there.
Tearing it up.
Not to mention, you all got to remember who the head coach is there. That main coach at Tennessee and UCLA.
They have produced some really good throwers too.
His level of thinking is beyond quote unquote mid-major. So you have to remember that. And let's be clear, just because you're in the Power 5 don't mean you're a Power 5 school. Let me go on and tell you
the game has changed. The game has changed.
Yeah.
And I get all that, guys. I get all that,
but the 11, to your point, the 11-6, right?
Come on, man.
You keep
come
coming
on,
back.
come on. You
But that's because
you tell me 11-6 is. But let me say this: 11-6 that won't get anything, but 11-6 actually made it to the top 8 in the finals. And
it may or may not.
This kid
could have been a bad.
But look at the history of the SBC finals. They're not running 11-1 straight down 1 through 8.
Listen. The Sun Belt, because like I said, I have history in the Sun Belt just like Protonomics do. Okay, everything is at a coach's discretion. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing we also got to remember. Like, Coach Kyle changed the recruiting standard the minute after our first indoor meet, and he saw these girls started doing things that they haven't done in 2-3 years that they've been there. He said, okay, I got the right coach in place. Now I got to change the standard. I also know where I'm at. I'm in the heart of Atlanta. Most people want to come to Atlanta. So he had to change the standard, but we also had to over-evaluate to make sure that people were coming in for school and not for the city. You know what I'm saying? My apologies for having my hand on the phone. So there's a lot of nuances that goes into that. Yes, that man felt that man Trent and the head coach and the head coach there felt like they are knocking on the door of becoming the next A&T, the next Coastal Carolina, where now they can elevate their recruiting standard. And yeah, Trent is one of the most intelligent and track savvy men I've ever met.
Facts.
And I think he will openly say this because he told me he said this to his team. And this is not me talking about myself. I'm just repeating what he said to me face to face. He said the minute he saw that I came in the conference, he had to switch everything up because he knew what I was going to bring. And lo and behold, he was right. So now he feels that, okay, these girls are going to get better underneath him with another year. I have to get better girls in here. And if you ran 43.90, don't you want to run 42 point? So now he has to go after the girls that can do it. And he's proven that he can get girls to run fast. He's proven that he can get guys to run fast.
So, but why not bring in that 11-6 girl and develop her to the 11-4?
At what level?
If this is proven.
At what level of scholarship?
No one said they're not bringing them in. They just
So here's my question. So here's my question. Here's my question for y'all because I love this question. Here's my question. 11-6 girl, what type of money you think she needs to be on? If knowing the success that he's had the last 2 years, whether it was on the men's side, the men and women's side, what type of money do you think he needs to give that young woman?
11-6 girl coming in there.
Yeah.
No, I never said. I never said a full. When did I say that?
I'm not saying you said a full. I'm saying at what level should she be on?
I would say at least a partial coming
what?
in there, but saying not to get this
25,
but saying not to give this girl nothing.
Oh, okay. Track that. Give me
percentage. I give you a percentage. Is that what you want?
Give me a percentage.
50%. 50%.
So
for the SBC.
You're saying
for
that
the SBC.
You're saying
it don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Recruiting in any other event. You're saying that not knowing what Coach Frazier, as the head coach, is recruiting in the throws because he's a throws coach. You're saying that, not saying what they may have changed jump coaches. I think they recently did. The standard might be elevating there. The standard might be elevating in distance racing. You're saying that not knowing what's on their end, and they don't have to tell you who we're recruiting. I don't have to tell you how much money I'm spending on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I get that.
Our generation, and I'm older than maybe the most of the panel. We didn't talk about who was on what. We never talked about it. I didn't know.
We didn't. We didn't.
They lie about it. Not only talk about it, they tweet it, they Instagram, right?
Right.
And we have to deal with the ramifications of that because I've had it on other teams. Oh yeah, I'm on a full, this, that, and the other. Man, and then guys coming in the office to me like, how's this dude on a full? Who is this dude?
I can speak for Coach Kyle. The most we will give, because we have to field a complete team, is 88%. How do you get that 88%? Not only can the young girl run the 1, she can run the 2, and she can run on that 4x4. Something. Let me tell you something. You come in there talking about you don't run on 4x4, guess what your money gonna be? We already have that percentage written down. We already have that money. We already have that.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I get it.
If there's parents and high school coaches that's on this live right now, understand this. This whole thing where I don't run the 4x4. Well, guess what? Your money's gonna be here. Now, the next thing we do is if I give you everything right now, what is it that you're working for?
Nothing.
You're working for nothing. So, prime example, my number 1 quarter miler and my number 2 hurdler. Neither one of those girls was finalists. One girl ran 14:17 the year before. She ran 13:42. She's number 3 all time in the school list. She got bumped from 40 to a 4. My quarter miler, she was running 57th consistently. She ran 56.97 the year before. I got it down to 53.65 into the NCAA East preliminary meet. She ends up getting bumped up to a 4. So what we do is level set because we give you everything. What is it you're gonna work for? Because we like to treat the kids the way we want to get respected by our bosses. Look, I got all these kids to break school records. I got the NCAA meets. You won't give me something. We don't have to renegotiate the contract because I literally outperform my contract.
Yeah.
And that's why I want everyone to understand.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point because when you upgrade somebody, that's less money in the pot for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
right. That's the other caveat to it.
Right.
I want to jump in with one thing here because something crazy just came up. So basically, don't go to the SBC. No, that's not what nobody. That's not what we're saying. Here's something I said earlier today, which is those are the standards for that school. There are other schools in the SBC where you may be right along with their vision and their standards. It's just Texas State has a vision that says we're trying to get here. This is what we're targeting to get here. If they get there, great. If they don't get there, well, they may be at another school in a few.
Shout out to Arkansas State.
Let me say it this way:
tying standards to a school, it's at that school while that coaching staff is at that particular school.
And on the flip side, Mont, you've been an assistant. Wick, you've been an assistant from my college coach. Okay, so let me phrase it to you this way: if you bring me a young lady and I'm the head coach, can you make a full scholarship mistake? Can you make an 80% mistake? Can you make a 50% mistake? Can you make a 40% mistake? Or can you make a book scholarship mistake? Can you make a 10% mistake? Because that full 80, 40, 60, 75, 50, whatever, big money scholarships get you fired if you consistently keep making those mistakes. Period.
And let me add to that, because I want to make sure everyone hears this. If I put a full ride in you, you know what I expect from you? I expect 10 points at the conference meet.
10
No,
points
I'm sorry.
indoor.
Hold on. I expect 10 in the 60, 10 in the 200, 10 in the 60 at nationals, 10 in the 200. You cannot get anything less. You cannot score anything less than 20 points at every championship meet. You want that pressure? And the way college athletics is going, athletes are now becoming employees. So guess what? If you don't live up to your standard, you about to get fired, not reduced. You get fired. You sure you want that pressure on you?
Hold on. These are kids. We need to prepare them for life.
No, they're not kids anymore. Once they get out of high school,
That's my whole point. That's my whole point. Because at the high school level, they say they're about the kids.
This is the biggest issue.
They're about themselves.
Right,
but this is about preparing the kid for what's to come.
Right, but this is the biggest issue. The people that's having an issue with the standards aren't the transfer kids. It's the high school kids. That's where the issue is coming from.
And the club
coaches.
Right,
the high school kids and I won't say the high school coaches because I deal with all high school kids. So I don't see an issue with it. But what I'm saying is where the problem is coming from. Now people are saying, oh, well, you're saying my baby can't get a full ride because they only run 11.6 or because they don't run 13.2. No, what we're saying is right now, this person isn't making us feel comfortable that they can come in and be able to earn 100%. So why would I give that to them just because they're doing good where they are now?
Well, and then I'll throw this in there too. At that level, here's the thing, and I'm gonna rub some feathers on this. Club coaches and high school coaches brag about how many kids they sign for scholarships and award money, but they won't get the overall percentage of the whole entire class because it's less than 3%. So at the end of the day, people brag and say, hey, I can get you money. I'll get you a scholarship if you come and train for me. That's the issue. Because now they got to hold themselves to a standard and perform.
So I'm not going to say that's a blanket statement, Wick.
It's not a blanket statement, but it does happen.
Can't make that a blanket
statement. It happens.
It happens, but
majority
there's
time
stuff
it happens.
On the other side too.
Majority of times it happens.
You know what I need. You know what I need. You know what I need. On all of the high school and club coaches, especially in the state of Texas, because I love Texas athletes. We need y'all to really, 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 really be the sound of reasoning to some of these kids. Mm-hmm. We need y'all to say, hey, look, and because the Sun Belt's been the topic, let's talk about that. Do you know that Coach Badone is one of the best coaches in the country that nobody knows about?
Adam Pennington.
Right.
Don't forget Coach Patrick. Don't forget Coach Patrick.
Adam Pennington. Yeah. You all would never. Eric Jenkins, you all would never know how good these coaches are because it's labels. It's like Gucci, Fendi, Prada. Like, no, you don't listen. They're good for what they do. That's perfectly fine. But understand something. Last I checked, there was a Sunbelt girl that's about to run the 100 meters at the Olympics. There's a young girl that was in the Sunbelt that's about to run in the Olympics 100 meter dash. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, all the schools look good because all the talent flock to the same schools.
And I'll share this when I was at TCU, when the 100 and Daryl had the 100 rolling and we were rolling, you know how many top 3 guys we brought in the country in, and they went on to be in the Olympics. We didn't sign a single one of them. And people go, oh, it's this. Just because you also run fast does not guarantee that you're going to get the kids too at all.
Go ahead, Coach. You was about to say something.
All right. To your point, Lamont, and I think this has to be understood. And Wick, this kind of ties back into what you were talking about. Some of these people will tout the scholarships that they get, and they may or may not give the amount because that's not all at Division I programs, right? And so one of the things. Let me throw a name out there to y'all. Carmelita Jeter. Was she a D1 athlete?
Nope. D2.
Nope. She was a D2 athlete who went on to be an Olympian. So that doesn't mean that just because you're not going to a P5 or even a mid-major, your child doesn't have the chance to develop. What I think the point is, hey, I'm in a higher pressure situation than some other people. I have to produce results now. If that means I don't have time to waste, and I hate to use the word waste, but that's what it is. I may be sitting on the hot seat. I may have been told, if you don't produce something now, you're gone at the end of this year. Well, do I want to go get the 11-6 that I got to develop, right? And it's going to take me the full season to develop. Or do I want to go get this 11-4 or 11-3 that's in the portal? Or do I want to go get this 45-foot triple jump girl who's in the portal?
Yeah.
Who's going to give me something right now and save my butt? You never know what's going on the other side, right? And so that's what's driving a lot of it.
There are 10-20 guys that run 20 point in the SEC that got their money cut. Yeah, because they're not making.
Wait a minute! I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a story for y'all. There was a girl who ran 22.88, and their coach called my boy and said, "Hey, can you take this girl?
Yeah,
she would do us no good in the SEC.
Yeah, it's happening."
And they cut her money. This is not a joke, man. Like I give you another example. There's a female. I think she's done now. This young woman was at a Power 5 school. This young woman made second team All-American in a specific event. That coach told her, "You're not developing fast enough. I'm pulling your scholarship." She made the semifinals of the NCAA championship and said, "I'm pulling." So every time the new school she went to, she been tearing their asses up every time they step on the track, tearing them up. But this is what I be trying to tell kids and coaches this without making it sound like I'm hating on the other school, because I'm not. But when I see the kid and I listen to the parents and I talk to the parents and I build a relationship with the parents, I try to tell them in not such big ways. Hey man, don't get caught up in the labels, man. You might want to look at Boone, you might look at San Jose State, you might want to look at San Diego State, you might want to look at Akron. You might want to look at some of these schools, because at least you know your child is going to be safe.
Yeah,
baby, if you cannot help certain schools win a conference title, or you cannot help them win a national title, and they got somebody coming on from overseas that could run 12.8, and she's 19 years old, guess what money they taking? They taking yours.
Yeah.
So we have to take. So there's horror stories, but once again, we got people pushing these kids to go to listen, open up. That's why the NCAA went to unlimited recruiting visits, because they was tired of that happening. So we have to protect these young kids and say, hey, stop looking at this school, that school. Let's look at a broader spectrum to make sure that you're safe.
Yeah,
you're
it's
safe.
like this question right here, where Egypt's dad. I want to answer this question. When it comes to recruiting, would you rather have an elite athlete or developmental coachable kid? As a head coach, I need both. I need production.
Yep.
Right. I need in the finals. I need scoring points. I need to try to get closer to winning a conference championship. I need to get closer to getting to the regional meet. I need to get closer to getting to the NCAA meet. I need both. I don't have time in my day to chase you down to go to the weight room. I don't have time in my day to chase you down to go to class. I don't have time in my day to chase you down and go to study hall. This is what you signed up for. Okay. So when people sign these scholarships with opportunity, with money, there always comes expectation. I don't care if you want 10%, 5%. I don't care if you're on a full. I don't care if you're on 99.9%. There is expectation that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hate to use the old Spider-Man quote, but use it. It works in that situation, because to whom much is given, much is expected as well. So with great power comes great responsibility. Use whatever cliche you want. When you're getting that level of investment, there is an expectation. Okay. I am not going to invest $100,000 into a Yugo. It's not going to happen, because my expectation for the money that I'm putting in is higher than what a Yugo can give me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then I'll add this in, right? They got to remember too, parents, high school coaches, club coaches, your value is not your PR.
Nope.
Your value is your body of work. It's your averages.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not just one event. It's multiple events. Okay, so when your child or your athlete pops off and goes, okay, because let's think about it. Majority of high school coaches would jump up and down if they had a girl run under 12 flat.
Yeah.
They jump up and down to have a girl run 12 flat.
Exactly. That's my whole point. Is that's where it's the honesty on everyone. Okay, that hey, that's awesome. Congrats.
Can I ask for people in the chat who's asking about these developmental things?
See, that's the whole thing. Because
what is developmental?
Exactly.
What is it?
Because
Glenn Holloway was developed.
Well,
because he started off at a high point, but he was still developed into a multiple NCAA champion.
I know where the development's coming from.
I know. Listen, Vaughn, this is what developmental is, and I'm joking, but I'm serious at the same time. Some people want you to take the 25-90 girl and give them but it doesn't do anything for me. Understand something, and I say this to every parent and everybody who did that to me over the years. If this 85, you want to pay my bills until I get another job? Crickets. This is a business, and that's the one thing I don't think there's one thing that everybody doesn't understand, that there's a certain point in the recruiting process where it becomes a business. There's a certain point within the 4 years, it becomes a business. It
becomes a business the moment you sign that scholarship for multiple $1,000s.
And there you go. It's a business. And we get caught up in the whole fun aspect because you think it's just a sport, this and the third. No, it's a business. I'm not out here for play. I'm out here to make sure that I can support myself and my family. You know what I'm saying? So
that's where people don't understand, because quote myself and coach over there, we in the business too, don't we? We get paid. And how do we get fired?
Get fired about if someone thinks their kid didn't perform well, or if someone decides I want to go to the next hot popular club or whatever the case is, that's how we get fired. But it all comes down to this, and I'm going to touch on this because Egypt's dad said something else. He said more like borderline kids, meaning that's what developmental means. And I'd say that, but I'd also say it probably means late bloomers. But here's the thing, and people need to understand this. And some people are going to get pissed off at me. They probably got pissed off at me because I said it earlier today. Every college coach is not, I repeat, not a good coach.
Yep.
There are bad coaches at the high school level.
Yep.
There are bad coaches at the club level. There are bad coaches at the college. There are some college coaches who got their coaching jobs through nepotism or just because they were around. It doesn't mean that they're going to, just because I coach college, I'm going to be able to develop your kid from 11-6 to 11. That is not what that means.
We related, bro. We related.
And on top of that note, not every coach is the right coach for you.
Boom.
And I'm not foolish enough to believe that I can coach every kid on the planet.
Yeah.
But I show up to the track every day trying to coach every kid that I have.
And coach, and that's the whole thing that I'm getting to. If we're honest, high school coaches, track coaches, are teachers first. They're not track coaches. And secondly, if you want to do a good job, it takes a full-time effort to work on recruiting. And majority of them don't have the time to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So
let me chime in on this real quick, guys. I got a question for y'all. So when y'all took the job as a coach, because we all have jobs, and the jobs comes with, we got to complete tasks, we have job descriptions and all that good stuff, right? And we go in, we have interviews, we go through boards and all that fun stuff, right? But when we take that job, and if a part of my job was to develop kids to the best of my ability, that's what I need to do. I get it. Your family come first. I get that. But coaching is a risky business, man. It's a risky business. And I'm saying is, and I'm not picking on Texas State or the coach there. I'm not.
Clearly, your daughter is going to school.
I'm not picking on that coach at all, man. I'm just saying, and it's not just Texas State, man. It's all, They're not the only one with high standards. They just the one that posted it. It just went off. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the deal. There was a certain individual who posted many. You remember this, Justin? And it all blew up, and everyone attacked him on Twitter. He posted all the team. He posted all the team standards. So it wasn't just Texas State. It was a lot of teams that he posted. Every school has that. Every school has a standard, whether they post it or they don't. They have it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But can I address this trend? Can I address this 45 scholarship thing? Because there's a big misconception.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. For everyone out there who think this is about to be someone opened up the bank vault and told you have at it. It's not like that. Let me break it down to y'all. Okay. And Vaughn, if I'm wrong, please correct me. 45 is now the cap. However, each conference is going to have a meeting to determine what number these teams are going to be able to have. When I say each of these teams, not football, you leave football out of it because football is their own monster. Okay, so track and field, they got up to 45, but the Sun Belt will take a look, and I'm using the Sun Belt again because that's what we're on. The Sun Belt will look at the dynamics of their schools. They're going to have conversations with the chancellors, presidents, athletic directors. They're going to say, look, we can't afford 45. We could go up to 25 per school. Cool. They're going to agree to that number, and that's what that conference is going to do because they don't want the uneven, unfair advantage to circulate throughout one school has all this and another school don't. It's not going to happen that way. Not to mention, there's all these scholarships. Baby, you are now becoming an employee, and you don't even know it.
Yep.
And so if you even take too many breaths at a practice and the coach don't like it, you're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So all this, and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier. I remember when the transfer portal was coming about, and I was on one of the executive committees in D2, and I begged them to shoot it down because I knew where this was gonna go. And I'll be damned, here I am. Here it is. And it's hurting a lot of people. So everyone don't get all excited. Ooh, y'all got 45 scholarships. No. Texas is going to have 45 scholarships. But let me ask you this. Texas gets 45 scholarships. Flo's a spring coach, right? How's he going to manage all 20 sprinters? That's 20 women.
Yeah.
And then 20 men. How are you going to get the attention you want?
Yeah.
But they're not going to have 20 sprinters.
But you
programs that are sprint based are going to start dipping into the distance races because they got a little bit more scholarships. They're going to dip more into the throws because they got more scholarships. They're going to dip more into the multi events because they got more scholarships. Because now they can cover things across the board. That doesn't mean that a team that just ran 42 flat in the 4x1 on the women's side is going to start taking 12 flat girls and putting them on big dollars. That's not happening at all. It's just not going to happen.
Nah, that just means I'm gonna go find somebody else in Ireland. I'm gonna go find somebody else in Trinidad. I'm gonna go find this girl down there in New Zealand that don't nobody know about. That's what that means.
So, Kenny, let me throw this in there, right? So, why, as a college coach, would I do that? Here's number one. Majority of the time, I don't have to bring them on an official visit.
Nope.
Okay. So number two is majority of U.S. kids are spoiled with unofficial visits. Okay, they think they deserve and need the unofficial visit. Majority of these international kids are signing without visiting.
Yep.
Okay. Number two, mostly international kids are thankful for the opportunity and they know I cannot mess this up because my family is back home is depending on me to get that degree and do something with it. Because I know if I mess up, I'm not going to be able to go home probably.
Nope.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this too. Just Carlos has had a lot to say.
That's my guy too. Go ahead. That's my guy.
If I get 45 scholarships, and let's just say in this happy scenario, because every school is not going to be able to fund 45 scholarships.
Right. Like, where do you think this money? Right. Where do you think this money coming from? Like,
the
bro,
NCAA not enough to
get these 45 scholarships. You know what I'm going to do as a coach? I'm going to take my 45 scholarships and to set the standard that I want. I'm going to go look for the top 45 athletes in the particular events that I want to, regardless of whether they are a high school kid or not. Because as my money, I don't have to do what this parent thinks is morally right or should be left for high school kids. It's my money. So if I see a high school kid who falls in one of the top 45 spots, then yeah, I may give them that 45. But if not, I'm going to go give that one of those 45 to someone who's in the transfer portal or international student. And it sucks because I'm not just a coach. I'm a dad too. I got a high school athlete who's pretty good in 2 sports, right? But the same rules apply. I got to look at it from the point of view of, at this point, the decision is being left to someone else. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter that I think, well, they got 45 of them, somebody should get one. No, right. I'm leaving the decision to someone who set the standards for their program, not mine, theirs.
Yep. Hey, and once again, Alonzo, hey man, international kids don't take less.
They cost more.
They cost more because they're capped on how much they can make from their student visa. A lot of them come from disenfranchised countries. They're not taking less. If they are, please tell the ones that keep emailing me from various countries, stop asking me for fools, please.
Vaughn, I'll take it a step further. If you work at certain schools, you can't bring an international kid on anything less than a full.
Really?
You cannot bring him. You cannot bring him in. If you work at certain schools, because one, if you ever recruit an international kid, there's so many steps that they have. First, they got to show that they got the financial means to go home in case, I don't know, a pandemic hit and they get stuck here and they're able to survive during that joint. Or if something happens, they have to get home. They have to see bank statements. They have to have, some of them have to have sponsors. Like some schools, you cannot bring those kids in unless you are guaranteeing them a full ride. That eats up a chunk of your money. Okay, that eats up a chunk of your money. Now, if they got a sponsor, like some of the athletes from the African countries, they have somebody that will put $20,000 on their tuition, where they can come over and say, okay, now I could put maybe a 60% into them where you don't tap out your scholarship. But if you think Taraz Oregot is on partial, you out your damn mind. You know what I'm saying? He's on a full. So all this dope, all 45, everybody's not going to get allocated the 45 scholarship. I'm telling you right now, Wisconsin's not going to do it. Minnesota's not going to do it because Minnesota cut their men's indoor program. So they're not going to do it. So the Big Ten has to take all that into consideration. Like, listen, it's not going to be even playing field. So what can we support? Can we support 30? Yes, 30 is the goal number. If anyone can do 30, then that's fine. But 45, and even if you got that, they're not going to put all that money into that, especially when you got a distance coach as the head coach. He's going to want his cross-country team to all look like Prefontaine. All right. And then if you got a sprint coach, you're going to want them all looking like Ben Johnson and Lifford Christie. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want the team to fit your dynamic, to fit the personality of the coach. So you have to take all that stuff into consideration before everyone starts saying, oh, look, y'all got 45, just put it all out there and let's see what happens. Okay, you put 45 out there and none of them perform. You do got some schools that still got that 4-year contract. So now you're stuck with a kid that's not developing, or you're stuck with a kid that's partying more than what they're supposed to be doing. So the coaches, if you really look at the new landscape of track and field and sports in general, the coaches in the schools are taking all the risk and getting none of the reward, if you really think about it. So we have to think, like, if you think the smartest people in the room just going to let this become a free-for-all, you sadly mistaken.
Everybody has to do their job, man. I mean, the athlete, the coach, the trainers, the strength and conditioning professionals, everybody has to do their job. Now, the only one that's not I get it. Kids tell me all the time I'm grown. I agree with you. You just ain't been grown long enough, right? I agree, but you ain't been grown long enough. So, you're asking about the accountability as far as a coach. The accountability is if you don't get it done, you get fired. Yep. That's the accountability. That's always going to be there. If you don't understand that getting into this game, I'm telling you, don't get into college coaching. That is the hustle. That is the game. Mike Holloway has job security because he's got all them national championships. Any coach that's got multiple conference championships has job security until they don't keep producing those championships. That's just what it is. This is a what have you done for me lately sport. My wife said, and that's just what it is. And is it fair? No. Is the game free? No, it ain't fair neither.
Vaughn, and don't let a new AD come in there and you still win it, but he
they
don't
can change
like you.
their mind about the whole sport.
They can change your mind about the whole sport.
Yeah.
And someone's put down that 17 at the 45 scholarships. If you're allocated the 45 scholarships, 17 of that gotta come out of their total budget. He's absolutely right. So that leaves track and field with 28.
But it's not even 45. That's
right, exactly.
Vendor.
Right.
It's 90.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So take 90, multiply times the cost of education at the school that you're interested in. That's what has to be in the scholarship budget before the season starts. You ain't talking about insurance. You're not talking about equipment. You're not talking about the rising travel costs. You're not talking about the things that sustain the student athlete. Because if you got 90 athletes walking in that training room with one trainer, or one strength and conditioning coach, or one academic professional, all hell is going to break loose. Because that person's already overwhelmed with the 30 or 40, 50 athletes per gender you got on the team right now. Now take it to 180 and see what happens.
And yes, international kids do not qualify for FAFSA or anything domestic in the United States.
Yeah,
so if you do bring over an international kid, I'm gonna tell you what my former coach, who was the coach at USC, once told me. He said, Lamont, when we bring kids into USC, we can't miss. We have to hit on every single one.
Yeah,
has to hit. So think about it. If you go out there, like I just told some of the stories, you go out there and you want a full ride and you're not in the NCAA final or being close to the NCAA final, understand you're susceptible to being cut. They're gonna replace you. Look, I can get this girl that just ran the Olympics. She only made the semifinal, but she's willing to come over here. Boom, I'm taking over here, baby. You gotta find another school.
Yep. Well, the sad part too is you guys know this from being on that side. It's a money grab. That's why people are even excited about the 45, because now they're like, "Ooh, there's more scholarships. There's more. I can get a full." Okay, because that's what everyone's looking for. Is
it's not one size fits all,
and it doesn't. And that's the problem where people are going wrong. Is because like Kenneth does, I do. There's another coach in the area that does the same thing, and it's about what is the best fit for the kid. Not to think about are they going to transfer if they get better. It is, hey, you've grown greatly under my tutelage. This is the kind of training we do. This is the kind of training that college coach does. Is that going to work for you? It may not, and it may will.
But it's a money grab everywhere, though, too. Coaches are money grabbing, too.
Exactly.
I mean, you worked at TCU. You worked at Alabama. If somebody came to you and said, hey, whatever you were making, I'm going to double that for you to come be the head coach here.
I'm out.
You're out, but you also too still have the same. Now the pressure just elevated because now you're making that level of decision now. So it's the same. We're being held to the same standard that we hold these young people to. You are being asked to produce by your AD. You're getting paid for production. I'm a nice guy, right? My AD is an awesome AD. He supports track and field, love him to death. If I don't get it done, it ain't personal. He got to get rid of it. And I'm not going to take it personally. But I got to get it done. So I got to come to his office with solutions and results. I cannot come to his office complaining all the doggone time. That's the hustle. When these young people leave high school and they leave boys and girls track and field, they enter men's and women's. And it's hard to get an 18-year-old to understand that. Because I tell my staff this all the time. I'm 50 now, right? I've been doing this for 27 years plus now, right? No matter how old I get, I'm still working with the same age group population. Period. No matter how old they get. My jump coach is getting ready to turn 29 within the next couple of months. I don't care how old he gets. If he stays in college coaching, he's dealing with 17 to 22-year-olds, period. And my dad kind of gave me a little caveat, and I think he's watching. But my dad was a longtime high school coach in my hometown, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And when I told him I was getting into college coaching, he looked me dead in my face and said, "Son, I don't envy you." And I said, well, why? He said, "How you take care of your family is determined by the decision-making processes and actions of 17 to 22-year-olds. And then he hit me with the fine print. He said, "Remember how bright you were at that age?" So we're helping these people, these young people, cross the bridge between adolescence and they have to finish in adulthood. So they're going to have to learn some hard lessons off the jump. Because
and high school and club coaches aren't doing that.
Say again? What'd you say?
High school and club coaches aren't doing that. They coddling too much.
But our parents doing it. I mean, is this a societal thing that we're going through? And again, it's not a blanket statement to everybody, because some of these young people are coming here with high levels of maturity, and they had to learn that from somewhere. Mm-hmm. They had to learn that from somebody somewhere in some experience.
I have a question. I want to add a branch to that, because you said something that triggered something in my mind. So I was at Alabama. Lamont, you was at Washington and UCLA. Mm-hmm. Right? And this, because Justin is no longer in college coaching, even though I know he wants to get into it, I'm going to add him in this as well. You was at TCU. These are all what everyone called Power 5 schools, right? Mm-hmm. So, Justin, let's say you're still in college, but let's say you're back at La Tech. Why is it that the schools that we're at determines how good of a coach we are, knowing that we was at these schools and we had success? So this is where I point at the parents, the high school coaches, and some of the club coaches. Because one thing I asked the club coaches and the parents to do your homework on me. Do you know where I was at? Y'all do understand that I was a part of a coaching staff that helped an athlete become the youngest world champion in the 400 ever. He went on to win the Olympic gold the following year. Vaughn had so many athletes making the NCAA finals, damn near make world teams if they didn't make world teams already. So why is it that
we couldn't sprint at Washington? That's what I was told.
Right. Yeah. So I just need to know, why is it that I'm being judged on the school that I'm at, but no one did their homework to see what I've done, where I've been at, and everything else?
But Mont, that's the gap. That's the gap.
No.
We don't know us. But you don't know them. We got to fill that space.
I want Track Dad to answer that, and I don't want him to speak for everybody, but he could. James, he give me a general response to that. Why is that? Because I'm still the same coach. Hell, the funny thing is, I'm better now than I was at Alabama.
So you're saying, why are you judged by the school you're coaching at now, or are you coaching at the past, or what?
No, why am I being judged based on the school that I'm at now? Even though, like, I'm the same person, but am I a better coach just because of the name of the school on my shirt? Because Coach Johnson just said there's whack coaches in college.
Yeah.
Right. So how is it that I could be at Alabama, and I give you a great example. Coach Lennox Graham was the head coach for 12 years at Johnson C. Smith. He had a world champion in the hurdles. He had an Olympic finalist. He had in the 400 hurdles. He had a medalist and all that stuff. He always told me that people thought he wasn't a good coach because he was at Johnson C. Smith, but he gets the job at Clemson now. All of a sudden, he's a great coach. No. Coach Graham is still the same coach. He's always been a phenomenal coach. So why are we being judged based on the school that we at, and not the merit and not the accolades that we have done throughout our career?
So my answer to that is people gonna always have their own opinion about people or whatever, right? They gonna develop their own opinion because they don't. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, they're gonna develop their own opinion, right? They're not gonna do the research they need to do on you or what you have done, right? I mean, that's just the nature of human beings. They do it all the time. You see what I'm saying? They're just gonna get this perception of you, and they just by seeing you walking around on the track or something like that. Oh, he's not a good coach. He's using this technique. That technique don't work, but they don't know your history. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's something we can't control. People gonna judge you no matter what. You see what I'm saying?
So just like we're asked to look at the athletes, evaluate the athlete, and we have to do extensive homework on the athlete. Like me, I don't look at one hot time. I look at the progression and I look at the times where it was ran. If you run a time in Austin, College Station, Rice, if I know if like credible places, I'm like, okay, this young man, this young woman, they dropping, they showing progression. I have to do my homework. What I'm asking for is for the high school coaches, the parents, to not get caught up in the name of the school. You got to look at what these coaches have done. I'll be more than happy to send you the resume. I'll be more than happy to sit down on the phone and tell you. And I hate talking about what I've done, but if that's what it takes for people to believe that I'm good, then
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But that also factors into a lot of the missteps that some athletes make. They think they go to the school, then they don't develop. They run the same thing, or they run slower.
But
Hey, let me say this, Coach Bud. Let me say this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this real quick, and I'm handing it right to you. I want every time I bring kids on my show, y'all know I interview the kids. I need y'all to name 3 schools because I always ask them. I don't ask them while we all live, but like before we go live, I always ask them what school you want to go to. I want y'all to name 3 schools y'all think these kids. Tell me, what's the first school y'all think?
I'll start.
LSU, Texas, Florida.
Every single time.
They win. I don't begrudge that. They doing, and again, I go back to they are still developing.
Yeah,
they're still developing, right? So
I'll give this, and this is. Yep.
Go ahead, Whit.
No, go ahead. Go finish.
No, so going back to what Mont was saying, that's the gap in between us. What are we filling that gap with? There's a gap between high school coaches, parents, athletes, college coaches, parents, and athletes. But in this sport, we have done a horrible job in bridging those gaps and filling that space with information. We've done it from our end, and we've done it from the other end. Because I started off coaching high school, okay? So we didn't do a good job communicating enough. So where we know, because look, you can talk to 5 different programs at 5 different times of the year in 5 different years and get 5 different answers about what they're looking for right now, right? So it's not, and we don't have patience in this country. We don't have patience in this sport, okay? And it works both ways. We don't have patience to develop kids and wait for, give 50%, 75% to a kid that can't score right now and wait on them to score. We don't have patience for that. But we also don't have patience to sit down and tell people why, right? Look, you can ask me anything. I'm not going to post it on Twitter because I don't care about anybody's opinion of it, right? It is what it is for what I'm trying to do while I'm sitting in the big chair, okay? So if you want to talk to me, this is why I put my email on my Twitter. This is why you can see my cell phone. And I tell coaches, give my cell phone number out to anybody. I don't care, right? Because I'm willing to sit down and have a conversation with you. Now, when I have this conversation with you, my responsibility to you is to tell you the truth. I don't care how I deliver it. You may not want to hear it, but I respect you enough to tell you the truth and let you decide for yourself what you want to do, because I understand I may not be for you, but I also understand you may not be for me. I learned this in life. You cannot be so far left, you can't get right. The truth is in the middle. So where do we need to meet? We need to meet in the middle with everybody, ADs, presidents, coaches at all levels, and start having more respectful conversations with each other in order to positively resolve any issue we have in between us. Whether that's, hey man, I'm not for you. This school's not for you. I tell kids all the time, if we don't have your major, don't come here. I don't care if the money's right. I don't care if you're the best athlete that I've ever seen. If we can't help you get to the next level, you don't need to be here, because this running thing is going to end. What are you ready for when this is done? If the only thing that I can tell you is you're fast and you won championships, we failed you. We've only done part of the job. Like I was taught this scholarship is a three-legged stool. It's athletic performance, academic performance, and social responsibility. You can't sit on a stool when you take one of them legs out.
Yep.
That's just what it is. But when are we having those conversations, those real conversations with people?
Yeah.
And that's why for me, I've always appreciated you two, because you will speak it, right? Majority of college coaches want to do the same thing, but they just don't have the time, or because they got to recruit, or they got other doings. Like, I want to do this, but either one, my compliance office is going to say yes or no to, so they're going to be handcuffed on certain things. Okay, so that's a big gap in itself. Okay, and the other thing is like on both sides, high school and college coaches complain about, can you respond back to an email, right? Or why don't college coaches call us? Vice versa. Okay, it's on both. And here's, at the end of the day, this is my opinion now, being out. Too many egos that don't want to drop it and really truly help the kid, because there's people on both sides say, right, especially on the club and high school level, I know recruiting. I've had kids. Until you sit in those seats, you have no clue. No. So instead of poaching college coaches to try to get the money, sit back and learn first.
And sometimes no answer is your answer.
Exactly. And understand how the game is played, and understand, hey, this is the game. Now let's sit back and diagnose, what kids do I truly have? And because I've seen it, and they will tell you, we know for a fact, I've been told, and I was at TCU, okay, this club is no longer in existence in Florida, but that coach looked at me and said, I don't care that you're TCU. I will never send a kid because I don't like your coach.
And
I've had kids tell me, hey, coach, I've never received a questionnaire from you. I've said, I've sent it to your school multiple times. That's why I have to send a DM to social media, because just like football does it. They block, say, this kid's better than, I'm not going to give him. So at the end of the day, the club and high school coaches, and I'm saying this and I'm part of it, and people think I'm against them. No, they do great things, but they're not being honest, because they're trying to protect the brand. Okay. And at the end of the day, if you're truly about the kid, you'll give every single kid a questionnaire. You let them know they're being recruited. You give the facts, and you let the parents and the kid decide. Okay. And then if you think you know, sit back and call a coach and say, hey, coach, tell me how this works. Instead of going, hey, coach, I got all these kids. Why aren't you giving a scholarship? You're reaching for the money bag. And that's, at the end of the day, if we're honest, majority of these kids, okay, and I'll even go in soccer and football and all this stuff, from youth, they specialize too much because they're trying to go get the money. Okay. Kids are saying, hey, at the high school level, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you won't start, or you won't be on this team, or you won't be good enough to get a money. Ask the majority of these parents, do you feel more pressure academically that your kid's behind, or do you feel more pressure sports-wise? And you'll be shocked. The answer is sports.
Sports all the time.
It's all the time. So we got our priorities wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times as college coaches we sat there and said, hey, we can give you academic money for X, Y, and Z. They want the athletic money because it's cooler to say. So when you say that, as coaches, we sit there and go, so you don't have faith in your son or daughter that they can maintain a 3.0 and their GPA on their transcript saying it's a 3.5? We'll pass. So that's why people get upset, is we just don't want to be honest. There's too many egos on the other side. Just saying that at the college level, because we know this. Both of these two guys know this. Okay. And since it's on the subject, okay, there was a year that Trent almost walked away from the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
He volunteered.
Yeah.
Many times. And I told him, front blank, and these two are going to agree because I've been through it. just like on the high school side, there's on the club side. I couldn't get a job either. Many people like, oh, great. But then guess what? I go Power 5. Oh, we're buddies now. Now I drop down to Air Force Academy. Those that were buddies. Oh, you're no longer a P5. You're not my boy. To all these other things. So there's games to all of it. And that's where people don't want to be honest with, because it's protecting the ego and it's keeping facade. That's why football is football. Because football is a dog-eat-dog world, and they're like, we don't care. This is the way it is. If you don't like it, so be it.
But that's elite track and field too.
Exactly.
It's elite track and field, and not only creating that type of environment, but sustaining it is even harder. Because your ego is involved with it. And I'll be the first to say it. I've made job decisions based off of my ego, and that didn't always work out. But like you're saying, the egos are so there. Like a lot of us think that we're Teflon Dons.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been this game long enough, you learn the lesson. Like you see the same people on the way down that you saw on the way up. So how you treat people is what matters. How you see yourself is what matters. I'm at a point now, I'm living unapologetically myself. Like I don't owe anybody any explanation of who I am, but I'm willing to talk to you about who I am. And if it's not for you, then hey, cool. But I'm not dumbing myself down for you, or I'm not, leveling myself to where you want me to. I am who I am. Take me or leave me.
Let me for the people who don't know exactly who I am. And these two will know. And Track Dad, you didn't know this about me, but I'm gonna share it with you. I volunteered at 3 schools.
You sure have.
My first paid job, I was getting paid $10,000 in the Bay Area.
We did.
I stayed there for 2 years, and I walked away with 2 national championships, multiple national individual champions. I have had more mishaps, very few self-inflicted. And Vaughn's one of the few people that can sit there and check me on things if I did something. Hell, Justin called me a few times like, bro, come on now. but what that has done, it's made me stronger. It's made me better. Yeah. And so I have turned down jobs. A lot of people don't know this. I've turned down a couple of jobs only because of the person that was in the chair. Which goes back to what we were saying about making sure that you picking the school, not because of the name. Somebody asked me why working at Alabama was 2 of the best years of my life. I said because of the man I was working for.
God rest his soul. That was the
man I was working for. Anybody who know me knew how devastated I was last year when that man passed away. It destroyed me. I mean, I never had so many people come to me.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I lost my college coach the year I won my 2 national titles as a team. I lost my college coach. I'm at practice. I got the phone call from his wife. And I couldn't even practice. I couldn't even get practice. Yeah. So I've been through enough. So going back to choosing the right schools, you have to choose the right schools, because just because it looks good or it may look good on your resume, it don't mean you're gonna have a great moment. Listen, I know people who go to jobs, hair black. You see them a year later, they got all gray.
Yep.
Truth.
And so that goes to show, and this is a lesson, because if y'all hear from us, maybe it will resonate with some of the parents who's watching this and some of the coaches that's watching this. Just because it's laid in gold, that don't mean it is lead there's not lead underneath it. I had to get my phone on right there.
For you.
You know what I'm saying? For you. So you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful. So look deeper. Look at the school. Listen, I had a girl that I signed who, she literally, unbeknownst to me, reached out to 4 girls on the team and said, listen, I'd like to have a personal conversation with you about this coach. Anybody can sell us anything, but I need to know. I didn't tell her who to talk to. She just went. They was like, he's one of the greatest men that we've ever had as a coach. She went and did that, and to the point where she asked the girls not to say anything to them. And then when I finally spoke to her and said, yo, listen, your girls talk really highly. I said, who did you speak to? She didn't know who she spoke to. I was like, oh. say, yeah, I got to do my homework, because it's easy for a coach to tell me, go talk to the team. They'll tell you anything. I had to do my homework, find some of the girls, reached out to them, and they spoke to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for all the club coaches and all that stuff, listen, man, it looks good putting on those uniforms, but if you know what me, Vaughn, and Justin really know behind the scenes, we be like, ugh.
I mean, what have I told you, Mont? You know, on several occasions, there's a difference between a job and a right job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But let's flip it. There's a difference between a scholarship and the right environment.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Right? We connect our success based off of how much money we get.
Yeah.
And at some point, we've got to be in the right environment, because you can't tell me Jordan Bowles didn't bet on himself. You can't tell me Ryan Brown didn't bet on himself. But not only were they hoping to receive something, they put themselves in a position to earn it. Right? They did the things that don't require talent. Right? Going to class don't require talent. Going to study hall don't require talent. Being the first one to practice and the last one to leave does not require talent. If you do those things on a consistent basis, you increase not only your possibility of success, I'm going back to this word again, you increase your probability of success.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're a walk-on or you're a full scholarship. You're going to get coached the same way. You're going to get held to the same standard. You're going to still get the same equipment. You're going to have the same study hall folks, the same tutors. You're going to get all of that. Now, what do you do with that opportunity? Now, you can have a full scholarship, trick it off totally, and lose it. And why did that happen?
Right.
Production or lack of production? Again, you can't be so far left, you can't get right. The truth is in the middle. Meet it in the middle. Meet the opportunity in the middle. Success is when preparation meets opportunity. In the middle. Not on this side, not on that side. It's always on the middle. So what are we teaching ourselves as professionals in this? What are we teaching the young people who follow us? You know, whether it's high school, club, whatever, what are we teaching the young people? Is it just secure the bag, or what does it take not only to secure it, but what does it take to keep it? What does it take to elevate? You know, like when I left Washington, okay, Jordan Bowles still had another year. My athletes that I recruited still had another year. They would come call me, this, that, and the other. They didn't get along with the coach that followed me. I looked them dead in their face and said, look, I love you. I support you, but I am no longer your coach. What you have to do is sit down and go sit down with that man, and you give him the same chance you gave me. Period. Do I enjoy seeing my people who I brought in there hurting? No. But I have to do right not only by them and teach them a lesson how to go forward, but I got to do right by the profession.
I will say this. Y'all see this comment right here? You all do
by
not
Coach Hicks.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that is a sleeping giant. First off, Coach Hicks is a bad mofo. She's bad when she's on the track. She's a bad coach. So for all the people who's from the state of Texas who think, it doesn't have the name, let me tell you something. All she needs to do is get her hands on one.
Check resume.
University of Rio Grande Valley.
Yep, and it's Rap City. And it's
University of Texas,
Rap
Rio
City.
Grande Valley. Yeah.
It is Rap City.
Been the truth.
So yeah, man. So, you know, honestly, man, Track Dad, this is one of the best conversations I've had in a very, very long time post-pandemic. One of the best conversations, man. And a person like you could be the one that's going to bridge the gap between the college coaches, the high school coaches, the club and private coaches. You're doing God's work right now.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? You're doing God's work. And please keep this going, because we have to continue to educate those who don't, because the rules are forever changing, and we get to know about it before anybody else do. We're sitting in them rooms like, oh my God, they changed the rules again. Oh, this is happening. I give you an example. A lot of people don't know this, but you know the NCAA got to pay back $2.8 billion to athletes dating back from 2016. You know who got to pay that money back?
The school.
The schools who got FBS football.
Yep.
You know what that means? Because it already happened. I have a friend who got pulled in the office this summer and said, we have to downsize because we have to pay back the athletes from 2016. So this man ended up losing his job.
Yep.
Oh wow.
It's coming.
Yep. More of it.
It's coming. So all this stuff, people just need to chill and just understand that if we can't do certain things, it's not because we don't want to. It's because we can't.
Yeah.
And quit getting your news from social media because it ain't all news good news.
Right. Like I talk to Marlon Odom anytime something big comes down the pike, because I know Marlon from when he was at Texas Tech. I will call him and say, yo, bro, let me give you the heads up. Boom, 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 boom. Sammy Dabbs, that's my bro. He knows what's coming down the pike. Danny McCray, he knows what's coming down the pike. We all let them know because those are our people, because we don't want none of our people getting blindsided about anything.
Yeah.
And we don't want the misinformation being put out there like everyone just automatically assume everybody's getting 45 scholarships. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we continue to educate, and we have to go to the grassroots people so they understand. Listen, this is what you're doing. Here's where you are. It's best that you go here that don't have no football team, because y'all are protected. Let me tell you something. That Big West Conference, they protected. They ain't got them problems. They ain't got to pay nobody back money because they don't have football. So they're protected.
Yeah.
See,
think about the Washington States or the Oregons of the world who just got regulated to mid majors after being in a Power 5 conference that no longer exists.
There you go. And that's the little nuances that people do not know or don't care to understand. They just see something, hip hop parade, and they jump it up and down. No, you don't know the little things that's going down. Because I'm telling you right now, they told coaches, they told track and field coaches that we can have, if you have 2 genders, you can have 12 coaches. Nobody's exercised that yet. Nobody.
Money got to come from somewhere.
Money got to come from somewhere. And guess what? Football got to get paid first.
Yeah. Always.
I'm gonna tell you like I told my girls. Daddy got to bring home the bacon, and he gets the big piece of chicken first. Mama's basketball. Mama's gonna get her allowance. The side chick is the other revenue sport. Which one you want to pick? It could be volleyball. It could be whatever's bringing in money. You know who we are? We the IG models. You click on us, you like it, but you know you never get access. We'll never get access. We're the IG models. That's what we are.
Yeah.
And people gotta understand that. This NIL deal, that NIL deal is for good-looking track women, because I haven't yet to see any male athlete get real big money NIL deals. Haven't seen it yet. Yeah, good-looking track women, volleyball players, basketball, football. That's who get the money.
And gymnastic girls.
And gymnastics. That's who get the money. Nobody else get the money. Like men, we get the short end of the stick all the damn time. They get the short end of the stick. So there's so many different layers to everything.
Yeah.
And
follow the money.
And everyone's doing their collective, everyone's doing their things, but some schools gonna have. Listen, you're not gonna compete with Phil Knight. You're not gonna compete with Uncle Phil and Aunt Penny. You're not. They created Nike. You're gonna lose that battle every time. Okay. You're gonna hold that L. And then Texas, where all they boosters, you're gonna hold them L's too. Man, the dude who owns the Spurs is the major booster. You're gonna hold the L to their money. In Texas A&M, I don't know where they get their money from. They get their money from somewhere. They print money from where they at.
Well, to give you an example of like some of a take action, right? High school and club coaches do this all the time, and there's only one club that I know in the area that does this. Did you know that I could actually invite every single one of these coaches to come and sit down at my school or do a Zoom and do a Q&A? It's legal if it's within the recruiting standard of contact.
Yep.
So, right now, here's how you get around it. See, and again, this is the whole thing I tell people. Would you rather get your information from Steve Jobs that's telling you how to build Apple, or go listen to Johnny Q down the street that's never built Apple? You following me what I'm saying? So go learn from the people that have been in the inside that are doing it. So that means high school coaches and club coaches, you got to do some work. If we think about it, high school says, hey, we have a recruiting coordinator. That's bullcrap. That recruiting coordinator is the football coach.
Yeah.
So they can get a title, so they can get a little extra pay.
Yeah.
But it's a low-hanging fruit for the kids that are actually already going to be recruited.
And a lot of them don't know anything about track and field.
Exactly. It's not for the kids that have the potential, because there's a lot of kids that have the potential, but they're not getting the resources and talked about. Just like, right, I can bring these two in to my high school and sit there and say, okay, we're going to talk Q&A, okay, with these high school coaches. I have a cell phone and they text me the question. I then ask the question to those coaches. That's how I get around then breaking the rules, because they cannot talk to ninth and sophomores.
Right.
But they can send me a text message in a Q&A panel. I can answer it. They can speak it. But again, no one wants to do that. No one wants to take the work to say, hey, coaches, would you be able to be willing to come in and pay them? Because you're asking them to come away from their time.
Yeah,
From
the
their
value of
family.
the sport. The value of the sport.
Yeah, guys, just to hit on that, I want to hit on this real quick, and we get up out of here. Well, we might as well stay up for the first races, right? Man, it's 3 a.m. something like that.
I'm on vacation, fellas, so no.
But yeah. But yeah, we'll get out of here. After this, it's been a great show, man. I mean, when my screen here is showing almost 600, it's not counting everything else I got out there. So we probably around about a little over 700, something like that. But anyway, I wanted to say this, as far as these kids always picking like these top schools. I just feel that, as a parent, you need to be more honest with your kid. You need to let them know, hey, you're not where you need to be, or either you're not where you need to be, or you're not going to be there, right? So you need to start reaching out to these other schools, because it's some good D2 schools, good D3 schools, there's some good junior college schools.
NAI.
I think as parents, man, we need to be more honest. Yeah, NAI, we need to be more honest with ourselves and our kids, man, because all the time, man, I know it for a fact, there are always, I want to go to Texas, I want to go to LSU, I want to go to Georgia, I want to go here, I'm doing this, I'm saying, why are you sending?
Froze on us?
Oh,
he coming back. I think he froze. Yeah, he froze.
Froze up a little bit. It's freezing up a little in and out.
Speaking of the D2 schools, before he comes back to the D2 schools, you got Pittsburgh State, you got Minnesota State, you got Academy of Art. You got so many different schools out there, D2, that's going to produce. Emporia State.
Yeah.
Jesus, you got West Texas State, who is monsters. Shout out to Matt Stewart.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Stewart, man.
Hey, man, look, for the ones that's watching, y'all want to holler at me, look, go to gsutigers.com, go on my Twitter, go on my Instagram, shoot me a DM. If I don't respond, it's because I'm doing something. I definitely will get back to you. So you feel free to holler at me. I'll talk to anybody. I may not coach another 11-1 kid to go to 44, but I ain't gonna deny you an opportunity. Just may or may not be scholarship worth. I don't know, but at least see. I'm willing to talk.
And let's not get it twisted. The SWAC has been producing for years. It just gets overshadowed because their conference meet is so early before everybody else does. It's kind of like you just forget about it. But the SWAC, remember, there was a kid from the SWAC that ran 1995 and made the NCAA finals, and he made the Olympic trials finals in the 200. Okay, so the SWAC has a lot of great coaches. They have a lot of great athletes. They have a lot of greatness amongst those programs. You got the mid-major, you got the Sun Belt, you got the American Athletic Conference, you got the MAC, you got the Mountain West. You got so many great conferences. Expand your horizon. Look at other people. Look at what they've done. Okay, my man Charles Ryan, he was appointed the head coach, director of track and field for San Jose State. If any of you know the history behind San Jose State, you will understand the task that he was handed. And not only did he exceed expectations, bro, they was in the NCAA finals of the 4x1. They was in the NCAA finals of the hurdles.
Yep.
They got just missed making the NCAA finals in the 100. He had a guy go 45 point. He brought back Speed City on the men's side, which is a historically great program because of the John Carlos and the Tommy Smith. For all y'all who don't know, that's the two gentlemen that stand on the podium at the Olympics, and they got the black fist raised in the air. He brought that program back after that program was cut for almost 2.5 decades.
Mm-hmm.
He brought it back. All it took was 3 years. That is the man who will develop. You got to understand that. San Diego State, Sheila Burrell will develop. You know what I'm saying? This man on the screen right here, Lamont, he's going to develop. I watched those teams, man. You know what I'm saying? There's so many great coaches out there. Coastal Carolina, that spring coach, he developed. Marshall, Keith Roberts, he develops.
Yep.
Randy Overby at Akron, he develops.
Yep.
Chris Best at Eastern Michigan, he develops. There's so many great coaches, so many great schools. Open it up, take a look, see what happens, and boom. And you cannot, and don't judge a school based on some type of performance. When all the Lamborghinis are going to the same detail shop, at some point, you know, somebody's gonna have to go to another store. You know what I'm saying? Like, gotta remember that everyone gets the first top tier kids because that's what's been pumped into their heads. Because we are a country that's all about styling on folks. You know, that's an old New York term, styling on them. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. You know, you want to style. Oh, I went to LSU. His mama come there all the track meet. Mama and daddy, they got the LSU paraphernalia because they living through their child. But I know a kid who was the top quarter miler coming out of high school, and she ain't happy. She ain't happy. And she's at a big time school. Big time. And she ain't happy. And now she want to go to a mid-major because she's at, and I quote, I'm at peace at a mid-major.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, Track Dad, you were saying something, your stuff got cut off, so go ahead, man, my bad.
Is he frozen again?
I think you froze,
I
guys.
think he frozen again.
So I think we just ended. It was good convo. It's almost been 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I will throw it out to both of you guys. I appreciate you because when he said this, I was like, shoot, I'll rile up coaches that can talk. So I appreciate you two. So thank you, Track Dad. I appreciate you, sir. You keep doing what you're doing. And just know that anytime people have conversations, feel free to hit up those two guys because they will always be honest with you.
Yeah.
Justin, you already know, dog. Listen, you already know what you mean to me, dog, because you was one of the first ones that was there when everything.
I know.
And Vaughn, listen, bro, you my bro. You already know. I ain't got to say no more. You already know what it is between you and I, bro.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I'm just here to help as many people as I can, and if I can help anybody, man, just reach out. It ain't nothing but a thing for me, man. I'm at this point, man. I've been in this sport since I was 6 years old. I'm 50 now, man. It's time for me to give more than I receive. So
I do got one question. To Renee Kinlock, you ain't the mama of the young girl that hurdles.
See,
at Coastal, is you?
See, don't let's not hey, DM my man. DM. We don't need to put that out there in the space. Let them have that private conversation on that one.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I agree.
Because that name looks familiar, and I'm just wondering, is that her mama?
We'll find out. Just DM. We don't need to do it.
Just DM.
Yeah, you know how that can be twisted. You know how that can be twisted.
Yeah, it's an election season. Don't nobody need to be traced back right now.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, man.
All right, y'all be safe, man.
Have a good night.
I'm starting my vacation. Y'all, God bless y'all.
All right, you too.
Now.
Yep.
Bye.
Peace.